Hi and welcome back. Today we are not talking about the whole of our sitemap, we're just talking about a small part of it. In fact, we are talking about the perfect property details page. We've talked in other videos about how your sitemap can be interlinked to get people to do one more click. We've looked at the sitemap and the role of the pages from an SEO perspective. But this is really the workhorse page within our website. There's so much you can do on the property details page. It gets emailed between couples, house hunting, or friends in groups sort of looking for a tenancy together. So there's a lot of lateral entry points coming in. And so for many people, the property details page will be their first experience of your brand. Now, there's no right or wrong answer to how to do a property details page. We see all sorts of different flavors. We've designed dozens and dozens of them for different agencies. But there are a few attributes that we've learned along the way, and we thought we'd take this little video to explain what we think is, a pattern for a good or even the perfect property details page. Obviously, you'll have your header, your logo, your navigation, your social links. That will probably follow a standard format. You're probably not changing that as you move around your site. You can do, you may have a sticky top menu or different mechanisms, but probably you're going to deal with and dispense with the header and the cross navigation in one block. Likewise, of course, your footer down the bottom is going to be similar. But the action really starts when you start moving down into the data and the detail about the property. Now, before we get to the property itself, you might want to consider a meta stripe, something which can help you navigate to the next property or to the previous property. We've talked about that in its role in creating one more click within a website. But informationally, that belongs above the property because it's before we settle in to thinking about the property itself. Obviously, when you get into the property detail, you're going to need the display address, you're going to need the price. Those are the key elements. You probably need the bedroom count, the number of bedrooms. And then you get to photos. Now, in general, we've seen photos getting larger over time. As screen resolutions have gone up over the last 5 years and monitor sizes have gone up and the resolution on iPads has got better. And photography and cameras have got better. People are using bigger photos. Even on less expensive property stock, if you're dealing in the lower or mid-lower part of the market where the property don't lend themselves so beautifully as some of the sites like we do Country Life's website. The properties are wonderful. They always lend themselves to photography. But there's creative things you can do. Exterior views from the property is a great trick to make the photos great. And photos are adored by people. They view the photos way above the description. Definitely, head and shoulders above, people want to see photos. If you can restrict the number of photos that are going out to portals and just put the key photos on, have more photos on your own website, that's great because it means there's a reason people need to come to your own website. We like to group together the actions. So that might be things like send to friend, or it could be things like make an inquiry. You might just repeat the button for make an inquiry, or it could be save this property, or it could be your social networking buttons. People don't really share properties. It's a very private activity, house hunting, but the vendor might. And you could encourage the vendor to like their own property or to plus one it on Google, etc. So, but the actions, anything you might do to the property or with the property or make an inquiry, book a viewing, really, if we group those together and cluster them, we're holding all the actions in a neat bucket. You've then got the description, the metadata around the property. That might be the map, or it might be the photos, or it might be the floor plans or the EPC charts. Normally people would group information about the property, which is different from actions on the property. Often you see sites confusing the two together, but really if you put the navigational content together and the actions which you might do together with the property together, and then the navigation beyond the property together in logical groupings, that works really nicely. As we move down the page, you get long descriptions. People don't read long descriptions. If you watch in user testing, obviously some people do, and if you get very interested in a property, people will dig in. One trick we like to use is to have a little read more link and put it in a drawer that slides open. The on-page contact form, so that's the key action, is register me please, I'd like to book a viewing, getting in touch. Putting an exposed contact form on a property details page increases the level of response from your website by some 30-odd%. Every time we do it, we've got designs that do and designs that don't. And per property page impression, sites with an exposed contact form generate more inquiries. So it's just, make sure you do it. And make sure the go button is nice and clear and a contrast color from the main application so people understand it's a primary action. Probably link it to the action colors here for the other actions, so that it's just a really clear architecture for what do I do next. And then you might consider some ancillary content down the side. That might be the maps to invite people for one more click. It might be the staff, properties that have staff profiles on them generate more inquiries. Don't know why that is. It might be people just feel friendly towards it, or people just say, oh, I will make an inquiry, I will ask a question. It personalizes it, and they create one more click within your website, but they also just generate more inquiries on those properties. And obviously the branch, again, the same logic applies. The phone number, the contact details, the branch photo. It's just content that you can use to enrich that page. We've talked elsewhere about putting location content onto the page as well. Less important at property level, but nevertheless a nice idea. So I think that covers us. That's a few ideas on property pages. You can do them with full screen photos, you can do them with lovely carousels, you can make them responsive. There's lots we can do, but those are the main elements that we think of when we design a property details page. Thanks for watching.